might be okay. And xylitol, although xylitol is kind of hard on this, it causes diarrhea in many people. But xylitol is also okay. But I just try to get away from it because you're still messing with your body's interpretation. Yeah. If you do want to have a sweetener, a little bit of maple syrup, because it takes a little while to break it down. Use a little bit of maple syrup. Something like that.
And honey. I know honey is good too. Yeah. Like all the natural fruits from fruits and those other ones too.
Yeah. If you want to have something sweet, because a lot of people have a sweet tooth because we've been conditioned. Read the packages of anything. They're full of sugar. All the processed foods, cut those out completely. The processed foods have sugar, so our bodies have been tricked into thinking we need all that sugar.
Yeah.
We don't.
And all the salt also. Yeah.
And salt. Yes, you're absolutely right. Yes, salt is.
It's funny whenever I get back to a diet and I start looking again at the labels, I get my mind set up for I need to read the labels. The first thing I see is always in the soup cans how much salt they have. Huge amount of salt for that you don't really need the extra amount.
No, it's the reason that's done. Do you know that there are whole departments in the big food companies where there are chemists and scientists. Their only job is to formulate the sugars, the salt, put percentages that will make people addicted to the product. Did you know that?
Yeah, I read some magazine over times. Yeah, they add some addictive. Will get you to want some more, even a slight amount of some type of drugs, will get you hooked on it. I know, it's weird.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
And sugar, it has the same impact on your brain. It does the same thing as cocaine.
Yeah.
That's why it's addictive. So, I know a lady here in Africa, every day she bakes, and she eats it all like a drug.
That's funny.
Huh? Because she's so addicted to sugar. She has a history of cancer in her family. The last thing she should.
And she's eating all the cakes. Yeah.
Flour and white sugar. They're there's not too much worse for you.
Yeah.
Tobacco.
I'm so glad I quit smoking. I'm going to tell you the truth. I smoked for so long. I was 15 years old maybe. And I was really slow when I was smoking. I really started 17, 18. And then time went by and I didn't realize and I had been smoking for almost 20 years. And this year, for the first time, it's been 10 months now, then I quit for the very first time. And I noticed a huge difference. Because when you smoke, when you say I'm going to quit, I don't smoke that much, you always kind of go back and forth. And you don't realize until you're completely out of it, And one thing that I noticed, first you regain your smell because you don't notice the smell at all when you're smoking. You can't tell when people smoke or don't smoke, Second, the amount of stress on your heart, on your overall, anxiety, all this, the sleep. And whenever something happens that can be stressful in your life, when you don't smoke, you don't feel stress at all. When you smoke, you immediately get into the fear and flight response. And I noticed that was a huge thing I noticed because I was like, oh my God, even if alcohol wasn't in the picture, I was like, I don't feel stress anymore. But when I was smoking, cigarette gets you, like you said, deprives you of oxygen. So immediately you get in that trance, stage where you feel so scared, you get fear, you get all this stress. And so if you don't want to get that in your life, just quit smoking. Yeah.
I smoked too when I was a child. I grew up in Tillsonburg, Ontario, Canada, which was tobacco country. So we grew up harvesting tobacco. I mean, that was my first job. So
wow.
My first harvesting tobacco. And everybody in the town smoked. So I smoked. it was just part of life.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
also, when I was about 15, and I quit when I was 26. I'll remember the day just as pure, clear as anything. I took all the cigarettes I had, threw them in the trash, and I've never had another one. I'm the world's biggest anti-smoking advocate.
Oh, wow. Huh.
But yeah, I smoked, and I would smoke about a pack a day because I was in a very high-stress job. I was a paralegal when once I got out of college, and I had a very high-stress job. And
Wow.
at that time, you could smoke in the offices and everything. It was a very different world back then.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, so it was the best thing I ever did. And when I see people and they say I can't quit, and I say yes, you can. You just have to have the right reason.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's is the life of your brain when you're older enough reason.
Yeah.
Like what do you need for me to tell you that you need that big enough reason for you to quit? Because yes, and I'm so happy for you that you quit. Yay!
I know. It's like, you're right. You would find all millions of reasons not to. You can hear all of those reasons you should, But like you said, you can see people dying. You can see all this horrifying commercial, and it still doesn't scare you. You're still gonna find those reasons you can still smoke.
Yep.
And it's really like you say, you got to be ready. You got to say, I think it might actually improve my life, and you actually got to believe it. And once that happens, and you put it all together and you start notice a difference, then you're glad you did it. It's because most people don't think there's actually going to be a difference. They actually think it's not harmful at all. And that's the same way I think everybody who smokes thinks. Anyway, let's go back to the subject to talk about. So what would you say the games, mental games, maybe some video games, like brain puzzles, things that they could do to extend the life before Alzheimer takes over?
Sure. So there are a couple of things to address there. Firstly, the idea behind the video games is that you are learning. If it's going to be of any value to you, it has to be something that is unfamiliar. So it wouldn't do any good. Say you were doing Pac-Man. I don't know if anybody even knows what that is anymore, but it was a video game when I was a kid, when I was younger.
Oh.
And so if you've done that all your life and you're doing it now, even though you're getting hand-eye coordination, it's not going to help you. There are also more complicated games like Luminosity. They got busted for saying that they would change your brain, and they got charged with false advertising. Because the thing is, it has to activate different parts of your brain. And the best results from using those kinds of games, those brain training games, comes when you are supervised, when you are in a lab where you're actually getting feedback, and when you're working with others to use these games to their most benefit. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't use them on your own, but don't think that that's going to make your brain better. It just might keep you occupied, which is also good for your brain, okay? Mm-hmm. The best way to inspire neuroplasticity, which is what all these brain games are saying that they do, is to learn something new. So, if you've never studied another language before, study another language. If you've never played a musical instrument, learn to play a musical instrument. It doesn't have to be a piano or anything. It can be a recorder. It can be drumming is amazing because it's got all the other stuff. Learn to play an instrument. Learn a new language. Learn to knit. Knitting and crocheting, those sorts of things, they make so many parts of your brain activate.
Wow.
So if you've been a literature major all your life, say you've got a bachelor's degree in English Lit, go and take a math course because it's different. But if you've been a mathematician or an accountant all your life, doing more math isn't going to make your brain better. You have to do something else. Maybe then you go to art history or something completely different, something that you would never have learned before. If you've done crosswords all your life, doing crosswords is not going to save your brain now. you have to do something different. That's the big thing about those games. You have to do something different, and you have to keep changing it up because our brains are very adaptable, right? They get stuck in a trough, and if you keep them doing the same thing, they're just going to get stuck. And so then the neuroplasticity, because we do have the ability to create new neuronal pathways.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, the great thing too is that a lot of people think that just because we kill so many brain cells, we stuck forever in like one dimension, which is not true. Like you can regrow, like you say, give some more space to your brain and go into different areas and expand that. So let's say it's not going to rebuild completely, like, you know, like when you were 20s, but there's still possibility to grow, you know, some more space. So as you were saying, like keep trying new things, you know, reshape the, you know, your brain and, you know, add some more skills, some more knowledge in it, and you'll feel better, I think.
Oh, yeah. And you also have more interest in the world, right? Another important thing about the brain activity is being engaged with others. Social interaction is very, very important. And that's one of the things I'm so upset about, this social distancing and isolation, especially people who already have a degree of cognitive decline or any mental illness. The worst is to be in isolation.
Yeah.
I tell you what, Vanessa, I'm so glad my mom had already passed away before this happened, because for her to have had to be isolated in that nursing home would have been torture for her. It would have been awful. And I know that many of the people who passed away from COVID, they passed away in nursing homes. And you know what? I don't blame them. Being in those horrible places to begin with is bad enough, but then you also are isolated, no contact.
It's awful, yeah. Yeah,
So
it's absolutely awful. Yeah, at least she didn't have to go through that. That's one good thing. Yeah. Because a lot of people, like, it's really hard when you get older, and then isolation. Wow. And also, I did an episode on schizophrenia and COVID-19, which I read some stuff in documentaries, and it was on the news. Like, some people died when they were young. They didn't have to die. Just from because they got so scared, they got so paranoid, you know, and they didn't have anybody to talk to. So they, you know, they just amplify what was happening. And within like the first week or two, and some of them died, and it was so sad because they didn't have to, you know. And that's really awful. Anyway. So you know what? I think that there's so many people who could use some of those great tips, advice. So tell me more about your program, and then we're gonna end this.
Sure. So the first thing is I have a blog. I put new stuff every 2 weeks or so. I put material that will be included in the book, because it's too important, and people need to get moving right away, because this dementia starts when you're in your 20s and 30s. It doesn't just all of a sudden happen, right? It's a progressive disease. So we set this up when we're very young. So my whole goal in life is to get people as young as possible to start taking these actions now. So on my blog, which is at katekunkel.com, they can go, and there's all kinds of information there, right in the blog. You'll see it right on the front page. Go there, learn. You can also, on my front page, I have a free gift. There are a couple of them, actually. One is 3 ways to use music right now to get involved and to help save your brain. And the other one is 5 tips that you can do right now that we just talked about, you know, with exercise and those sorts of things. So those are there on the website. In August, I'm having my first group program, and this will be a beta version, because I've only done private coaching before, so this will be a group program.
Okay.
And people are invited to join me in a beta program at a much reduced price. There's information about that on the website as well. And then the book will be out hopefully September, if all this editing and everybody cooperates. So I'm hoping that it will be out in September. But that's how people can get the information